Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Movie Crusaders. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest Amazon Prime action film, Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. Now, for me, when it comes to Tom Clancy, first thing that comes to mind for me is the video games. I loved Rainbow Six Vegas. I think my best friend and I played that game so many hours, just wasted in that game. You also got the Ghost Recons, The Division. But that's the first thing that comes down to mind for me. Now, in terms of movies, you've got Jack Ryan, and there's many versions of Jack Ryan. But this one is Without Remorse, which has got Michael B. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan's probably one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now. He plays John Kelly. Now, I think everyone that saw a trailer for this movie are all talking about the same scene, which is the scene where he lights the car on fire, walks up to the car, goes inside of it to interrogate the person inside. And, I mean, honestly, that was the selling point of the movie, was Michael B. Jordan being a badass. But does him being a badass make the whole movie worth watching? Let's go ahead and jump into the review and see exactly what I found out. I mean, the basic plot of Without Remorse is you got John Kelly, a Navy SEAL who goes on a path to avenge his wife's murder, only to find himself inside of a larger conspiracy. Does that sound familiar? Probably because you've seen or heard about the plot of this movie in about 80 other films that have happened between the 80s, the 90s, to 2000s to today. And that's basically the problem with Without Remorse. We've seen this film. Not only have we seen this film, we've seen this film 100 times already. Nothing in this movie was shocking. The twists, the turns, pretty much within the first 10 minutes of the movie, once you start to know who all the characters are, you can pretty much already pinpoint who the bad guy is going to be, who's good, who's bad, where the twists and turns are, to the point where there's nothing really shocking or surprising that's going to happen, because let's face it, all the shocking, surprising things that are going to happen in this movie, you saw in the trailer. The cast members that pop up that look familiar to you, most of them don't last longer than 10 minutes in the film overall. Michael B. Jordan's great. It's very hard for Michael B. Jordan to really put in a bad performance. I mean, even in Fantastic Four, he was a bright spot in that film. I don't think I've ever really seen a bad Michael B. Jordan performance. That doesn't make the movie good, though. I mean, you got Jamie Bell. Jamie Bell's basically playing kind of like the thorn in Michael B. Jordan's side in this film. I like Jamie Bell. I think he should have been potentially a nominated Oscar for his performance in Rocket Man. His performance in this is just kind of act shady and kind of a dick for the whole film. You also got Jodie Turner-Smith, who plays Karen Greer. I actually didn't hate her performance. I actually thought her performance was pretty solid for the most part, but she is mainly playing a performance where she's just reacting to everything and kind of following whatever Michael B. Jordan's lead is. And then you got Guy Pearce, who plays Secretary Clay. And if you've seen a Guy Pearce movie, you pretty much know what Guy Pearce's character is going to be in the film. So there's not really a whole lot of shock value there. The action sequences, they look good. The hand-to-hand combat between Michael B. Jordan and whoever he's kicking his butt with, they look good. The set pieces are very well shot, except for probably the biggest action sequence in the film. It's a little too dark. I was watching this during the day, so obviously lighting, you got sunlight and everything like that. It's very hard to watch. It's very hard to see what's going on because most of the shots are in the dark. It's very low lit setting. And it was hard to see a lot of the action in this big sequence to start the third act of the film, which you can hear it. It sounds great, but you're not really seeing a whole lot, which is a director decision that they chose not to add a little more light to the film itself. But nonetheless, when it comes down to it, the movie's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's just not a great movie. It's not a movie that I would go back and rewatch multiple times like I have with other films that are just like this. Michael B. Jordan's performance is really good. Not good enough for a rewatch. I would say the first half of the film's performance is stronger than the second half of the film's performance for Michael B. Jordan. And it does have a tease mid-credit scene of a movie that I do want to see. So if anything, watch this movie for the mid-credit scene for what could eventually happen with this series. Because if they continue with this series, with the movie that they're teasing, I'm all for it. I want to see that movie, not this movie. So in terms of Without Remorse, if you're a fan of Michael B. Jordan or Tom Clancy, you're going to watch this regardless of I telling you whether it's good or bad. So recommendation-wise, if you're a fan of Tom Clancy and you're a fan of Michael B. Jordan, go ahead and check the movie out. Just don't be surprised if you're kind of bored while watching it. I mean, I think there was at least 2 or 3 times while watching this movie that I paused it, got up, did stuff, came back like 45 minutes later, and then started watching it again, paused it after like 20 minutes, got up, did something else, because it wasn't grasping me. It wasn't keeping me engaged with the movie overall. And that's kind of what it is. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just kind of, it was fine. So I'm going to my over recommendations. If you like Guy with Jordan, Tom Clancy, check it out. If you're looking for something different, something you haven't seen before, you're not going to get it with this film. So it's, watch it if you want, but don't be surprised if you don't ever watch it again after you see it the first time. Going to my overall score, I'm going to give Without Remorse a 59%, which is still a C grade. Like I said, it's a fine film. Everyone does their jobs in the movie, but it's just not memorable or enough for me to ever want to rewatch it again. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And, of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we have Brian Michaels and myself back for yet another episode of the Weekend Crusaders. 5 movies that come out in this following weekend in movie history. We're going to talk about those, and it is a fun list to talk about, so be on the lookout for that. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.